It's a me, Carpe G. Did you know that CarPG TCG is not just the name of this channel, but an actual in-the-works game? I've been developing my own racing-themed trading card game for months now, and I've scrapped it and started over more times than I can count. But game development is hard, and it takes a lot of practice. Oh, who has the time? I do. So I thought I'd get my practice in by taking some of our favorite franchises and designing a card game for them. Ah, look at this face. The face of innocence. Before I realized how difficult this task was going to be. Surely I shall retain my sanity. I'm not talking about a universes beyond like crossover, where your favorite characters appear on an already existing game and use those games' mechanics. I'm saying, let's develop a unique game specifically designed with the flavor, lore, and gameplay mechanics of that specific franchise in mind. Complete with alternate arts. We're going all out, baby. And who better to pick than the lovable Japanese-Italian Jumpman, Mario? If you subscribe, I promise to never rock this abomination of a mustache ever again. Of course, you may find it odd that Mario doesn't already have a TCG, especially in this day and age where every franchise is getting in on the action, from anime shows to Disney. And it's not like Nintendo isn't familiar with the aspects of card games. Obviously, they have the Pokemon TCG, of course, but when Fusajiro Yamauchi founded the company in 1889, back when I was born, it was primarily to sell Hanafuda playing cards, which are absolutely gorgeous and have a fascinating history all their own. Hell, Mario has already seen a handful of collectible trading cards that feature his likeness. Emphasis on collectible. There is no game attached to any Mario card out there, but there does exist collectible sets for us cave dwellers to purchase. With the release of Super Mario Wonder, you could acquire a pack of collectible cards alongside purchasing the game at Walmart. Of course, you don't get every card in these packs, which were again limited to being sold with the game. At $60 a pop, that's the most expensive booster pack this side of Lord of the Rings. The collectible company Panini Group has also licensed the Nintendo brand to launch their own line of trading cards, with classic beloved characters like Deep Cheap and Banana. But considering how iconic the video games are and intuitive the gameplay is, I thought that a Mario trading card game would work beautifully. I mean, how hard could it be? What is Mario known for more than anything? You're goddamn right! Off the bat, I wanted to design something that emphasized Mario's super special ability of damn boy got hops. Being the most iconic platformer of all time, it only seems appropriate that we have Mario jump from the start of the level to the end of it. But here's the thing, TCGs are not a solo experience. You play against another person. What, are we gonna have two Marios race to the finish? That's not on theme. We have a role for player 1, now we need a role for player 2. Obviously, Mario's journey isn't for shits and giggles. He's off to rescue Princess Peach, who has been captured by his nemesis Bowser. I think we just found our player 2. So, here's the gist of the game. One player is Mario. It's a me! He must traverse through 8 worlds to get to the finish and rescue the princess. The other player is Bowser.
No.
Who is sending an army of minions and traps in an attempt to stop him. Mario wins the game by making it through all the worlds. Bowser wins by exhausting all of Mario's lives before he does. Both have a special character trait that define their playstyles. Switching out for a different hero or villain will allow you to switch up said playstyle and speaks to each character's strengths. And each player will have a character card that represents their side. Of course, if you'd like to flip the script, you can play as the princess and have her rescue Mario. Why not? This sort of asymmetrical gameplay, while often beloved by players, comes with its own set of logistical issues when it's time to actually sell the game. As I've highlighted in my video on perhaps the most famous example, Netrunner. In short, it's difficult to organize competitive play when each player requires a different deck, as well as the financial ask from players to purchase cards for 2 separate decks. That said, I'm not worried about selling this game since Uncle Nintendo holds all the rights, so I'm merely concerned with the gameplay design portion. So whee! Originally, I wasn't sure how to organize the worlds that Mario would traverse through. This was one of the toughest things I had to figure out. Originally, I thought I would have 8 worlds, each represented by a level card, and Mario would try to scale one world at a time. The worlds would have different effects on them based on their environment, like sky levels or water levels. But I couldn't seem to get the tempo right, and it didn't leave each player with much to do strategically. I was laying on my couch being a lazy fat sack of shit when I pulled up a game on my Switch that I had forgotten about. Super Mario Maker. This was the perfect thing to draw inspiration from. Each player can help build and construct the level. This helps give both players a goal, with Mario setting up platforms that help him traverse through the level, give him power-ups, etc. Meanwhile, Bowser throws down hazardous platforms that require specific moves from Mario to traverse, as well as traps such as spike balls. Most platforms you see will be basic platforms, which grant you a set number of coins. Coins can be spent by each player on different things. For Mario, there is a shop with item cards. He can purchase items to use throughout his journey. For Bowser, shoot, I don't know yet. I have to come back to that. Yeah, this process isn't linear. You often find yourself having ideas that sound really cool, but then you find that they don't really work so well, so you have to take a break and come back to it later. It's a whole thing. So on my break, I'm gonna speak to my newcomers of the channel here. I assume some of you might be Nintendo fans only and don't have much experience with trading card games other than collecting Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh packs back in the day. And I don't know if you've heard, but the industry lately, it's been poppin'. But maybe you do want to explore this world and go out to the store only to find the shelves at Target empty and the prices online obscene. This bit isn't sponsored. The creators of this game won't even know that I'm doing this until they watch the video themselves. But I do love my indie games, and if there are alternatives to the big boys out there, I want to give them a chance to shine. Gem Blenders is one of my favorite trading card games, a staple in the household. Forget about trying to track down Pokemon or One Piece. You can go online and buy a box directly from them and have it shipped almost anywhere. With great gameplay revolving around upgrading your normal heroes into blended heroes with colorful gems. It's a great time at the kitchen table, and it's so fun to collect with secret rares to chase with crazy color combos. If you're looking to get in on the ground floor of something new and exciting, and again, something you can actually buy and touch and feel with your own hands, then give Gem Blenders a try. I'll have the links to the game in the description, feel free to check it out. Anyway, to make the platforms, I was having trouble finding backdrop assets online, despite the wealth of Mario assets available through sources like MarioWiki.com. I'm actually so proud of the solution I came up with. God, I'm so smart sometimes. Rarely, but sometimes. By crafting whatever platform I need in Super Mario Maker and taking a screenshot, I could then put it onto the cards and voila! We have our platforms. Real quick, let's talk art direction. Honestly, I wanted to go with the classic 16-bit Mario style from the SNES games to capture that retro charm. But when I thought about what Nintendo would probably do if they were making a Nintendo version of the game, they're probably going to stick with the nice 3D assets that they utilize in all of their modern games today. So all of our characters, backdrops, items, etc. are rendered in that sleek 3D style. That said, it lends the opportunity for other art styles to be used for rare versions of some cards, like Pixel Mario or Full Art Illustrated Mario. And you know what? These Marios are looking too good. I think it's time to bring them to life. Make them a real boy. If you're wondering how the sausage is made, this is basically it right here in 3 steps: print, laminate, and cut. I arrange all the cards onto a PDF to print 9 in a row, then we go for the lamination to give it the look and feel of real cardboard. I do wish I had some glossy laminate for projects like these. It does have some light glare, but is really good for getting the color to pop. Luckily, the matte finish didn't totally kill the color here, so it all ended up okay. Alright, when you look at the blacks on the cards, obviously the contrast was washed out a bit more than I would have liked, so not a success story everywhere. And then we cut. Which leads to our fair share of screw-ups, but that's alright. Practice makes perfect, as they say. And I had a lot of practice with all these cards to cut. Alright, because you've been such good boys and girls, and I have some beautiful sunlight shining on my desk here, I'll show you the cards. I'm actually so pleased with how the card back turned out. I mean, how can you not be? Sure, I'm the narcissist for getting excited about my own work. My girlfriend is so excited about the fact that I am an artsy-fartsy craftsman now by making all of these cards. See, if you want your partner to enjoy your cardboard addiction, just turn it into arts and crafts, and then it's a-okay. No, but really, she's just glad to see me happy. She always is very supportive. So for the card back here, obviously I went with the Mario's jeans influence on the back here, and then the classic My Nintendo Mario peeking out. Just very proud of this, so just wanted to show it off. This is classic 8-bit Mario, and of course, we've got Luigi. I do want the powers to sort of be indicative of what their in-game abilities are. So obviously, Luigi gains a long jump. Mario starts with an extra life because of the classic shrinking down when getting hit, you know, kind of a second chance. And this is our standard Mario right here in the standard render. And then we have some alternate art variants. So we have illustrated Mario. And then, of course, the super secret rare chase. What is this? Super Mario World? Super Mario 3? I can't remember at this exact moment, but you gotta have a full art for all of you addicts out there. And then, we also have alternative villains for the second player to play as. So we have Donkey Kong, who, of course, can pay 5 coins to move Mario back 1 platform, indicative of throwing a barrel down the lane. And then we have our Bowser. Our Bowser can search at the end of World 8, so it's kind of like you've reached Bowser. What's he gonna do? He's gonna throw fireballs at you. This allows you to search your deck for 3 fireballs, put them in your hand. I don't know the efficacy of this power yet because I still have to make the Bowser cards. I am procrastinating, but I will play test with all of these in order to be able to make the balance. This is Peach, and Peach takes 1 additional hit for no damage. This is outdated. This was an accident. What I really wanted Peach's effect to be was she gets a discount at the shop because she's friends with Toad, right? She's the Toad Kingdom princess, so she gets a discount. So I will have to change that. These are our lives. Mario will start with 3 lives. He will have opportunities to purchase additional lives at the shop. They cost 10 coins as of this writing. He also has the ability to lose lives. Every time he fails a level, he will lose lives, and Bowser's goal is to get him to lose all of his lives. Now here are Mario's movement cards. These are going to be the majority of Mario's deck. You are going to draw them in your hand, and each one is going to provide you with a movement that you can use to sort of move past each platform. Obviously, the jump goes up, long jump goes up and to the right, and then we have our ground pound, which this was the only render that was like a high definition render that I could find of Mario's ground pound. I really wanted it to be just like these are just his body parts indicative of the action. I wanted this one to be just an ass falling down, just Mario's ass almost making impact with the ground. Unfortunately, this farting Mario from Sunshine was the best I could muster. Also, one note, you might be thinking these cards are incredibly simplistic. I know, that's intentional. Not only so it gives me a little less work to do with my limited graphic design skills, but because Mario is the gateway flagship children's IP for Nintendo. I would think that if Nintendo were to devise a children's card game using their flagship IP that is often marketed towards kids, they are going to make something simplistic, you know, something colorful, something vibrant, and something that's indicative of the world, but is also not difficult to pick up and play, not difficult to understand. So that's sort of the rationale behind the simplicity in the looks of these cards. Now here are the platforms. These ones are a little less graphically designed intense. I just let the world kind of do everything for me. And they're also what I wish I had higher definition images of, because I ripped these off my Switch 2 and then blew them up. And so the resolution is not the greatest, but we'll take what we can get. And here we have the To round out our talk about the platforms, we need to figure out how they are tied to the game's progression. How are we going to illustrate the sense of traversing through a level and jumping between worlds? Each player will have a separate platform deck. Each round will represent a world. So round 1 is world 1 all the way up to round 8 being world 8. On round 1, the starting player will play a random platform between the start and finish sections. This constitutes the level for our first round. For round 2, both players will alternate playing a random platform. Our level now has 2 platforms, so Mario will have to use more moves to travel across. This will grow with every new round, so round 5's level will have 5 platform cards, and round 8's level will have 8 platforms. Oh right, moves! Yeah, how does Mario move through the level? I didn't get a lot of sleep. Not just because I was up all night trying to figure out the movement situation, but we're having a heat wave here in Europe. And I'm on the 4th floor. And in Germany, apparently, they are a little slow to pick up on the incredible benefits of air conditioning in residential units. Another thing that I've learned is that making your own card game is very difficult. I mean, I knew this going in, but there's one thing to have really cool ideas and mechanics that are flavorful. It's another thing to make sure that they work. For this challenge, I've given myself 2 weeks from thinking, hey, I'd like to create a card game for a franchise, to having the video posted. It's not enough time. But it's just conceptual, right? Nobody's paying me to do this. It's fine. Respect your game developers. They go through a lot of work. Here's what I came up with. So we have Mario, right? He's trying to jump across platforms and platforms that don't require him to have any moves. He can just go across. But I had a realization. Which one is just going to allow him to go across? Obviously, Mario himself has platforms that can be played that grant him moves, but can he move forward a space only with the long jump? I mean, jumping up high just does that. It doesn't necessarily indicate he goes across. Same with jumping down low. I mean, this is a ground pound. That doesn't facilitate movement across. So what I realized is I need a 4th card type. I need a dash. I didn't make a dash. I have to go make a dash. All right, I'm back. I've made a dash. Yeah! So for the most basic of movements, Mario's movement deck will contain a dash that allows him to dash forward. The dash obviously is going to be the most important and basic card in his deck. So he's going to have more copies of it than any other movement in his movement deck. But the dash itself is sort of limited, right? Because Bowser has platforms that require specific moves for Mario to traverse. Mario plays the dash here on a platform that requires a downward movement, then he's not going to be able to progress. So what I think needs to happen is when there's a platform that requires a specific movement, Mario needs to be able to play that specific movement as well as the dash. This, of course, makes the dash always and entirely a net negative. In order to balance that, I think the quick and dirty solution is to enable the dash to draw you 1 card. Why not? So you play a dash, it essentially replaces itself in the ecosystem. Is it elegant? I don't know, but that's fine. We're not here to make a game, we're here to make a game. What? I'm losing my marble. Can I make it so that long jumps also provide movement across? You know what? Maybe dash cards themselves are not required for these types of platforms, for the platforms that have a specific movement on it. Maybe those movements or a dash. No, those movements specifically allow Mario to traverse past here, and dashes are for basic coin platforms as well as his own platforms that appear in the subsequent levels. So when Mario has a platform, which will happen on as the levels grow as you progress through the worlds, Mario can... I'm going through this with you in real time. I'm figuring this out with you in real time. Playtesting's hard. When Mario has a level card, he gains that move. So in that case, he could use that move on this platform here and say like, okay, I'm using the move that I have from this platform in order to jump from this platform. And then here we go. And I think what I'll do to go from the start to platform 1 and to go to the last platform to the end, it doesn't require any sort of jump. You just, once you get here, you're here. That doesn't make any sense for the end. Okay, it's just for the start. It's just for the start. This is like a free move, we'll call it. To get from the end, from the last platform to the end, you still need to use a move. But to get from here to here, you need a free move. Does any of this make sense? It makes sense to me up here. Does it make sense to you? I'm gonna do a recap of all this at the end. We're gonna do a very structured look at the rules, because I think we need it. By the way, this is the shop. This is going to be the economy of the game where Mario can spend the coins that he earns from landing on basic platforms in order to purchase useful items for his journey. So we have the Super Mushroom, which you can purchase for 5 coins, and in a pinch, it provides 1 of any movement. We have the Fire Flower, which for 7 coins you can purchase, and it provides a Fireball, which you can use once to knock out any enemy. And of course, for 10 coins, you can purchase 1 more life, which is going to be very handy depending on how I balance the lives, which I should figure that out. Now let's figure out Bowser's deck, because we know Mario's deck has movement cards, and we know Mario can spend his coins in the shop. But what does Bowser's deck consist of, and what can he spend his coins on? I'm gonna go figure that out. Okay. I figured it out. These are Bowser's cards. Here we have Bowser's enemy minions. Not only enemies, but traps as well. So you have the little indicator right there. And they all come with their own set of caveats. Is caveat the right word to use in that situation? I don't know. Essentially, Bowser can play one of his traps or enemies on top of his platforms. Mario is then going to have to use his movesets and items in order to overcome the enemy or trap. For instance, when Bowser plays a fireball on his platform here, Mario, when he gets on the platform, is going to have to use one of these adjacent moves in order to escape it. Bowser can play this fireball and spend some of the coins that he's accrued throughout the game. If he spends the coins, he gets this extra effect. The fireball requires an extra jump, any kind of jump. That means if Bowser plays it with the coins, Mario is going to have to play 2 jump cards in order to traverse it. This allows for every card to be free in that you can play it at any point in the game, so there's no bricking. But of course, if you want a more powerful effect, as you stockpile coins throughout the game, you can play more and more of those effects, and then it'll all, come together beautifully, we hope. I'm going to flash back now to a time when I was a little more coherent sitting at this desk, and we'll see if we can get something together. All right, I think that's everything for now, at least. Let's do a quick and dirty overview. How to play the Super Mario trading card game. One player is Mario, or equivalent hero. The other player is Bowser, or equivalent villain. Mario's goal is to jump through 8 worlds of increasing difficulty before he loses all his lives, of which he starts with 3. Bowser's goal is to stop Mario from jumping through all 8 worlds by reducing his lives to 0. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier. Each round has a turn timer equivalent to the number of platforms, including the start-finish. So World 1 allows Mario and Bowser 3 turns each. World 2 would allow them 4 turns each, etc. If Mario does not complete the world before the timer runs out, he loses a life and continues the round from the current platform. Lose all his lives? Lose the game. Both players start a round by placing down platforms in alternating turns, with Bowser starting first. Because Bowser always has a platform advantage, he only gets to draw a starting hand equal to the number of platforms in the world. Mario's starting hand is equal to the amount of platforms in the world plus the start and finish. Mario moves through the world by using movement cards in his hand. Dash allows you to move through platforms with no movement requirement, but any Bowser platforms that require a specific move, Mario has to play. Of course, Mario can use any moves for that world for free that appear on any of his played platform cards. In response to Mario's movements, Bowser can play enemies or traps from his hand to try and stop Mario. Both players have platforms that gain them coins, which they accrue throughout the game. Mario can spend these coins at the shop for items that give him different abilities. Bowser can use these coins to power up enemies that he plays. And that's it. Give me a break, okay? I only had 2 weeks to put this together. There's a heat wave, it's very hot. Now, I must admit, this is not a finished product, far from it. Balancing a game's systems, refining all the pieces, and making sure it's actually fun to play is a process that takes months, if not years, of hard work and perseverance. To be honest, I need to go back to the drawing board to figure out some of the systems and make sure that they're not completely broken myself. If you'd like to see me attempt to play the game, I'm most likely going to put up a full demo on my Patreon at some point, where I post a lot of bonus videos for my patrons. I'll also throw the PDFs of the cards up there as well, so you at home can print and play and test this game. Here are my patrons now. Thank you all for your support. You really do help keep the channel going, and I appreciate it. And maybe you can tell me your thoughts based on what you've seen. Is there anything you would do differently? This kind of concept video takes me a while because, again, I'm creating a whole ass card game. I had to design not just the gameplay, but the cards themselves, design them online, then print them out, cut them, the whole thing. It's a lot of work, but I'd love to tackle some other franchises and make some games for them. So if you have a favorite franchise you think would translate well over to a TCG, go ahead and let me know and I'll see what I can do. Alright, as Mario always says, wow!